Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, your resource for all things business, brand, and leadership. We are excited you have decided to join us today.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 41.
41.
Can you believe it?
Wow.
Yeah, we're talking about chasing failure today, but we have, first off, you guys, I am so thankful for you. I can't even tell you, we've had such good feedback from our listeners out there. Absolutely amazing. For those of you who do not know, I'm Robert Kalin here with
Mike Newman. Great to be with you today as we have episode 41.
Yep.
And as Robert started to introduce it before he forgot who we were.
Yeah, happens.
Today we've got a clip from one of the speakers from Live to Lead,
Yep.
Ryan Leak. And Ryan Leak is going to talk at Live to Lead about chasing failure. That'll be part of our conversation. But let's play this clip first before we get going.
What can happen with the people that we love and the people that we work with, and what can happen with us, that we can fall prey to being what I like to call a conversation narcissist. A conversation narcissist is someone that makes every conversation about them in some way or another. I am not talking about your boss. Do not go back talking about I heard about you. No. I didn't say that. Right now, I want you to think about it. What percentage of your conversations are about you and your interests? Do a self-test. Do a self-evaluation. In my conversations, how much do I make it about me versus making it about others?
So Ryan is an exceptionally funny person.
Yeah.
I just really enjoy listening to him and what he has to say. But I think the biggest thing, in that clip we just saw, right, he's talking about being a conversation narcissist.
Right.
And I think all of us can relate to some level of that being us, that we've dominated conversations. People just love to talk about themselves, right? It's the easiest thing to talk about. But Ryan also teaches this other thing, which is about chasing failure.
Yeah, and I think the beautiful thing about Ryan is it's real and it's something that's happening every single day.
Yep.
And you can take that conversation narcissist piece and go, okay, so when was the last time I was in a group and it was all about me?
Mm-hmm.
And then some of us would be, when was the last time I was in a group and I even said a word?
Yeah.
And so there's varying degrees of that. But what Ryan brings out in not only what you just heard in that clip, but then also in his talk at Live to Lead is about the practical things that we can do and ways that we can look at whether we're a conversation narcissist or whether we actually do what he's going to talk about chasing failure.
Right.
When that title came out, it was like, wow, that's kind of why would we want to chase failure?
Yeah.
But you think about, where'd you learn your biggest lessons?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't when everything went well.
Yeah.
It was when things kind of fell apart on you. And so he talks about the chasing failure. And one of the things that he says is that anything that we do in the area of leadership is risky.
Yeah.
If we're being a leader, it's risky. And when you take a risk, there's an opportunity to fail.
Yep.
And if you play everything conservative all the time, you're not going to, be pushing to get to where it is that you want to go.
Yeah.
You're just going to sit and wait. You're going to be a reactor versus an initiator.
100%. And he kind of, I don't know if he got this from Jim Rohn, that concept or not, but it reminded me of what Jim Rohn had said about it's all risky.
Yeah.
Whether you go for your dreams or whether you don't, you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
And so which risk would you rather take, right? And Ryan's point about chasing failure, you're 100% right. I love the concept of shifting our mind, right? Because when we can shift our perspective to have a more well-rounded outlook on life, right? like you said, why would you chase failure at all? That seems counterintuitive. The reality is that, like you said, our biggest lessons in life, our biggest leadership lessons always come from the ways that we've failed. 100%. I can think of all of the areas in my life have a major learning have either come from failure or tragedy, right? And when I focus going through those situations, when I focus on myself like a conversation narcissist, it's different than when I focus on others going through that, right? How are they feeling? How are they thinking about this? How can I help them, right? It's just a different way of looking at it.
And we sometimes think that, the experience that I had in a failure, if I fail again, it's going to be kind of that same feeling, that same outcome. But like we were saying earlier, that everything is risky.
Yeah.
And sometimes you risk more, and sometimes you may fail more.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get stuck, and I don't want to take the risk. And I think that when we don't take the risk of stepping out, whether it's about a relationship that you're in, to take it to another level, or whether it's, that next business opportunity that comes, they're called opportunities because they don't stay there very long, and they move on. And I think if we think of failure as just it's this every time, it comes in different shapes and sizes all the time. And I think that one of the points that Ryan brings out in Live to Lead is from his book, Chasing Failure, is this concept of we think about, well, what happens if I say yes? And we get stuck sometimes in that. And he flips the question a little bit and goes, well, what happens if you say no? Because we come up with what happens if I say, if I say yes, that may create more time. It may cause more money. But, if I say no, then I get to stay where I'm at.
Right.
There's no risk in that. There's no growth in that.
Yeah. That's good. For those of you guys who don't know, Live to Lead happens in Atlanta, Georgia, every year, beginning of October. This last year, 2023, it happened on October 6th. And Mike and I were privileged enough to get to see that event, to live stream that event. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you guys reach out to us about that, because you got to watch this. You got to see and hear from Ryan with his story on chasing failure. I think you brought up a great point about, what if I say yes or what if I say no? I think something else that Ryan pointed out is, in any area that we're at right now, in business, in family, fail as early as you can, as much as possible, because failure always costs you something.
Yes.
Right? And so as a parent thinking about failure with my kids, one of the things that I did, which I had advice from a mentor of mine, I am very much an adrenaline, if I used to race motocross, I love that. But my wife didn't want my kids to ride motorcycles. And what I said to her was, I said, hey, would you rather have our kids get on a motorcycle at 18 and they go out and buy the fastest motorcycle, crotch rocket, get on the road? Or would you rather have put the fear in them now that this thing can hurt me and I need to be careful, I need to respect it, right? So needless to say, we got a 50 for my kids so they could experience the fact that, an engine between your legs could hurt you, right? But at the same time, it can be a lot of fun once you learn how to do it. And there's risk and there's danger in all of that. But I think with Ryan's point of view, it goes along with your employees as well. You've got maybe entry-level employees. Are you allowing them and creating a culture where it's failure friendly, or do they get reprimanded every time they make a mistake?
Right.
I can't remember who it was talking about Ford, where they had the red light, green light, yellow light thing. I think it was the previous year's Live to Lead. But they were talking about red light, green light, yellow light. They go into this meeting and they're trying to figure out project status. And everyone was saying, oh yeah, it's a green light, it's green light, it's green light, because no one wanted to be wrong. No one wanted to say, we've got a problem here, because they were going to be in trouble for it.
Yeah, that was Alan Mullally with
That's right.
Ford when he took over to transform Ford after all the downturn of the auto thing. And I think when you look at that and you will honestly say, hey, my area is kind of yellow here or red here, they noticed a significant change in everybody's behavior once they identified that it was okay to make them err or not meet the standard that's there. I work with some companies now, and I got feedback from a person the other day that says something like, we go into those meetings and they're supposedly accountability meetings, but it's got to the point where, I didn't get that done yet. Well, that's a leadership issue. That's not a team issue.
Yeah.
And I think when we look at, the things that we can learn from Ryan or the things that we can learn from the Elevate podcast or other things, it's about how do we apply what we're learning.
Yes.
And the beauty of Live to Lead is that you can take that right away and apply it.
Right.
I'd encourage you, if you haven't, you can get it virtually, and you can go to innovationsandleadership.com or countercultureleadership.com, and there's a link there where you can go and purchase that virtual link. And then if it's something you want to bring into your company, reach out to Robert and I. We'd be happy to come in and facilitate a conversation with your team and make that happen.
Absolutely. I can't stress enough, for our business leaders out there who are listening to this conversation, about how are you allowing your team to fail? How are you allowing yourself to fail? Because it really starts with you. And if you're really hard on yourself, which all of us are really hard on ourselves, give yourself some grace. You're learning, and in the process of learning is failure, and it's okay. And, you'll wake up tomorrow and you'll be able to move on. You'll be able to do the next thing. We love you guys, and we hope that this podcast brings something to you every single week. At least my heart, I think I could speak for you as well, Mike, is that we're constantly adding value to you that's transforming your business. Not just giving you content, not just putting things out there that we want to talk about, but putting things out there that matter to you, that can take you to the next level. So with all of that, looking forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Take care. God bless.
Thank you for joining us. Our hope is this episode has been helpful for you today. If it's impacted you in some way, we encourage you to share it with someone. To receive a direct notification of our next episode, click the follow button on your favorite app or platform. You can also watch each episode on YouTube. The links are in the description. If you want to connect with us on a deeper level, go to countercultureleadership.com/resources. We'll see you next week on the Elevate podcast.